Okay, we're live. Good evening, everyone. I'd like to call this regular meeting of the Planning Commission to order. Ask for a roll call, please.
Thank you. Good evening, Chair. Commissioner Benefield,
Here.
Commissioner Van Antwerp,
Here.
Vice Chair Allen,
Here.
and Chair Lefevers.
Here.
And we'll note for the record that Commissioner Moyer is absent.
Okay, thank you. If you would all please stand and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Any introductions?
Chair, I have one, and that was just to acknowledge and introduce Commissioner Van Antwerp as our newest addition to the Carpinteria Planning Commission. She was appointed by the City Council back in January, but since we haven't had a meeting, this is her first time being seated with the Commission. So I just wanted to welcome her aboard and make sure I had a chance to formally introduce her to you.
Thank you. It's nice to be here.
Yes, I'm grateful.
Welcome.
Another woman.
Thanks, Nick. Okay, we'll keep moving. Now's an opportunity for anybody who would like to address us on items that are not on our agenda tonight. Now's the time for that. So if there's anybody here in the audience that would like to speak on an item that's not on the agenda, now's the opportunity. Doesn't look like it. Anybody on Zoom?
Thank you, Chair Lefevers. Nobody on Zoom for public comment.
Great. Okay, thanks. We'll move forward then
And
to...
Chair, I'm sorry,
Yep.
just before we do, I just want to acknowledge that you did receive one written public comment letter that would fall under this general public comment items.
Okay, thank you. So noted. It's related to the special joint meeting that we had recently. Okay, I'd like to move on then to the consent calendar. We have the minutes from our December meeting. I guess that was our last meeting, December 2nd. So there's three of us here tonight who were in attendance at that meeting. So those three of us will be able to vote on this consent item. Any comments on those minutes? If not, I'll entertain a motion for approval.
I move that we approve the minutes of
December
December
2nd.
2nd, 2024.
Thank you.
Through the chair, second.
Thank you, David. So we have a motion and a second on the consent calendar item. If you weren't present, you can simply abstain. So I'll call for a voice vote. All those in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed?
Abstain.
And abstained.
You
So
abstain.
you want to abstain.
Abstain.
Thank you.
Well done.
All right. Moving on to new public hearings. We have one item of new public hearings on our agenda tonight. I'll ask for a staff report here, and I guess I'll start with do we have any disclosure of ex parte communications for this item? This is the, Llama residence remodel and structural alterations. Any disclosures?
No.
David?
No.
Okay. Very good. Well, let's move on to the staff report then.
Good evening, Chair Lefevers, members of the Planning Commission. This is the Llamas Residence Remodel and Structural Alterations Project, and it is before you tonight because it needs a conditional use permit. It involves an interior remodel to an existing 1,416 square foot single family residence, including structural alterations, minimal exterior alterations, which include a new dormer roof vents. And then the conditional use permit for the project is necessary because the existing residence is legal non-conforming due to setbacks, building coverage, and covered parking. So the property here is at 1082 Elm Lane. So that's the very top of Elm in between Carpinteria Avenue and Sawyer. Carpinteria Avenue is down here. Linden is over here. And it's right here on Elm, the one down from the corner. And then here's a closer picture. You can see how the lot is a very small lot. It's not even 2,500 square feet. And so the house takes up most of the lot, which is about 1,400 square feet of it. And there's open space over here and a little bit in the back, but it's one of those very small lots with a normal size house for CARP standards. And here's the site plan that'll show you what's going on. So basically every portion of the house is in one of the setbacks. So we have the front yard. The blue is the property line. The front yard setback extends here 30 feet in because it's the 50 feet from the center line. And then the rear yard setback is 15 from the rear. So like they meet in the middle of the house. So there is literally no part of this house that's not in a setback. And then here over here, there's the 5-foot side yard setback and the house encroaches over here. And then this is the one setback that the house is not in, is the 5-foot side yard setback over here on the other side. This is actually a little open area. But the entire house is in some sort of a setback. So it's a classic example of legal nonconforming. And the house was originally constructed in 1928, so it's been there a while, well before our zoning ordinances were in play. And so the scope of the work is an interior remodel, basically just an update to, those older homes are very cut up. And so they're opening up the walls, relocating the kitchen. The kitchen right now is kind of its own little separate small room here. And they're modernizing by bringing the kitchen in here and then opening up this area. And they're going to vault the ceilings up here. So it'll be nice, more contemporary open space here. The bathroom back here, they're making a little larger, so it's a more functional. And then where the kitchen was, they're installing a second bathroom, so it's no longer just a 2-bedroom, 1-bath house. It'll be a 2-bedroom, 2-bath house. And then just the interior updates to make it a nicer living experience. And then the roof plan, here's those little dormers I spoke of earlier. So there's 3 of them, and they're just literally vents to help meet the Title 24 because of the scope of work that's going to be done. And when you vault the ceilings, you have to change your insulation around. So this will be the vaulted, and this will be attic, so it triggers the vents to comply with our current building code. So the key objectives and policies are pretty simple tonight. Goes back to our land use policies and our housing element policies about preserving our housing stock. And preserving our small beach town character, maintaining the older homes, and then encourage the remodeling and revitalization of neighborhoods and commercial areas in accordance with the principles in our community design element. And then in our community design element, we have the objective CD1 talks about the size, scale, and form of buildings and their placement on a parcel should be compatible with adjacent and nearby properties and with the dominant neighborhood or district development pattern. And this is the Old Town downtown area, so the architecture of this house is not changing as part of the project, and it will continue to be sort of the eclectic character of that neighborhood. The architectural designs are based on historic regional building types, should be encouraged to preserve and enhance the unique character of the city. Again, this is our typical California vernacular cottage, so it is in alignment with that objective. And then our housing element policies and objectives. Our program category number 4 is to conserve and improve the condition of the existing stock of affordable housing. And then we have policies about maintaining and repairing and rehabilitating homes, because this is an old 1926 house. So there are some parts, where it's just old and is going to need to have some upkeep to keep it nice as part of this project. And so for the conditional use permit, we do have the special findings. For the that the continuation or upgrading of the residential unit or units will not have an adverse effect on the surrounding neighborhood. The habitable capacity of the unit or units will not be increased beyond that previously existing. And the shortage of adequate housing within the city justifies the continuation of the nonconforming use and authorization to make improvements necessary to upgrade the living conditions in the unit or units. And staff feels like that the project meets these three criteria and that the findings can be made. And then just real quick, in response to the public comment letter that you received, I just want to share with you that the fire department is requiring sprinklers on this project. So the water district and the fire department will sort that out between themselves as the building permit goes through the plan check process. And then since this was an interior only project, Public Works did not have any conditions of approval on it because there was nothing happening in the right of way. And so staff's recommendation is number 1, to approve the project as presented and adopt resolution PC 25-002. And then other options for your commission would be to direct the applicant to make revisions or to conceptually deny the project. And that concludes my presentation.
Very efficient. Thank you very much for that staff report. I'll bring it back to the commission and ask if we have questions for staff about the project.
I have one.
Go ahead, Commissioner Benfield.
What are the setbacks on that street of the other dwelling units? Not the Sansom, but that same street there.
On Elm Lane or on
Elm.
Sawyer?
Elm.
They would all be the same, so they all should be 30 feet back from the street, which they're all pretty much legal non-conforming on that street.
So they're all legal non-conforming. Okay.
Yeah.
That's all I
Because,
need.
yeah, I think they were built well before our setbacks existed,
Right. When our cars weren't 90 feet wide.
or before cars.
Oh, that's true. Okay, then. That's all I have.
Okay, other questions? Commissioner Allen, did you have any questions?
No, thank you.
Okay. Commissioner Van Antwerp, questions? No? Okay, I had a couple quick questions. I'll try to not get too carried away here. Just want to make sure I'm understanding the scope. So, I get it on the interior remodel. The roof, these questions are about the exterior of the structure. Roof material, is that being replaced or is the existing remaining?
It is remaining. And if it is being replaced, it'll be like for like. I just cheat at my plans real quick. I think the roof is staying.
It
It's
appears
either
that,
replaced like by like, or it's going to be replaced like by like, or no changes. Let me just double check real quick.
and I have this, perhaps an easier question, but the same question with regards to the wood siding and the wood shingles, the exterior facing. I know they're, opening up and doing insulation. I'm just curious if there's a plan, because the staff report says that the exterior appearance is going to be the same as it is now. I'm
Yeah. So
wondering if that's really the case.
sheet A4 shows the structural sections that might help answer your question a little of how they're going to open up the inside without changing the outside. And it does specify that the asphalt shingles are going to stay existing. So they're not proposing to do a new roof at this time.
Okay. And the same thing with the walls, the exterior walls?
Yes.
Okay. And windows, those are, most of them say existing, so I'm assuming the windows are not being replaced? Is that an accurate assumption?
Yes. And if they are replaced, it would be like for like.
Okay.
Or better.
Okay.
Like same size, same location,
Same appearance.
same appearance. Exactly. No exterior visual changes on the outside.
Okay. And again, I'm just trying to make sure I fully understand the scope of what we're approving here, because it's a big project all inside, so I get it. I mean, I understand what we're trying to accomplish here. I just, sometimes these can turn into a bigger project once you get into the walls, but,
Yeah.
okay, and same for the garage door and the roof on the garage, that there's no changes proposed.
Basically, the shell's going to stay the same. And the little dormers are just going to be those little tiny. They're not like dormers in the sense of the large, like dormer with a window, like you might see on the second story of a house. They're just like vent dormers. They're little half circles. They're probably about this big.
Okay.
Yeah.
And again, just confirming the footings, I see those in the plans. I mean, there's detail for replacement of all this stuff, but the plans actually show that the existing footings are remaining, except for the ones that are going to support the new roof beam. Is that accurate?
Yes, I believe so. Yes. Yep.
Okay. And then, and again, I apologize for the detail here. I just want to make sure I have clarity. So I think so the house is going to look the same colors and materials and roof pitches. I get that. It's on what's identified on the northern part of the home as a closet that has an exterior door and an interior door. There's looks like a new wall being installed with separation. Can you explain what that's about?
That is because it's the garage, and there's something about the garage and the habitable space has to be separated by some sort of a firewall. Why it's not also here, I don't understand why, but that's how it was explained to me. This is some sort of new code fire separation requirement. And when it, like I said, when it goes through plan check for the building permit, if they end up also needing that same separation here, then that would have to be added as part of their plan check corrections.
Okay. And then one other question while you're on that, and so in the middle of that closet, it appears to be a new beam, a vertical beam. Is that for supporting a roof structure?
This little part, so the garage actually has a flat roof, and this little back part of the house has a pitched roof.
Right. I noticed
So I think that beam is showing the beam connected,
So there's
that's supporting that pitched.
So that square number 3, which is in the middle of the closet,
Right here.
that's identified in the plan set as I believe, a beam. So I guess my question is, are we rebuilding that? That roof seems a little saggy in that area, but is that?
Oh, yeah, maybe they are correcting the beam. I see what you're saying. It's a proposed beam right here, so maybe they are replacing it.
Okay, so maybe the applicant could speak to.
And I
a
was going to
couple
say,
of
the
these.
applicant's here. If you've got further questions, Mark Lamas is
Okay.
right here.
All right, and again,
Turn it on,
I
too.
just want to make sure we're clear as a commission on what it is we're approving here. So if there's no more questions, I will open the hearing and recognize the applicant or applicant's representative. I'm assuming that's you.
Yes, good evening, Chair and members of the Commission. My name is Mark Yamas, and I'm here with my father, Alfredo Yamas, and we are owners of the property.
Great. You're free to talk about whatever you like related to your project, if not, if you don't have any additional information you'd like to present, maybe you could just clarify a couple questions.
Yeah, of course.
So all of the exterior materials, none of that's planned to be replaced?
Yeah, as of now, we haven't, again, maybe for the future, if we decide to change the exterior, we can go in with a second submittal of any type of changes. But as of now, we're keeping everything the same. The only things that will change as far as the look possibly are the windows. If we put new windows, they would be updated. But again, they'd be like for like, so it'd be the same location and same size.
Okay. And how about the single pitch roof that's behind the garage that's that's actually attached to the adjacent home, is that
Right.
going to be rebuilt at all?
That is going to stay. There wasn't any talk when we went through it that we would have to change anything as far as the structure of that pitch. It was just adding the beam that went across to hold that portion of the roof. That was the only change.
And all that work's going to be done from underneath, so that there's no new roofing material on?
Correct. Yeah, it would all be done underneath from the inside. The roof had been replaced by the previous owner just a few years ago, so all the shingles and whatnot, they're all pretty much new, in good condition.
Okay, and same thing with the bulk of the footings, the foundation footings, those you don't plan to?
As of now, there are only footings that I believe were possibly going to be added were supporting the beams going across. The existing, we didn't note to change any. They seem to be in fair condition, so.
Well-built home originally.
Yeah, it
Obviously.
definitely is.
Yeah. Okay, thank you very much for answering my questions.
Of course.
Other questions while we have them?
Is this a family home? You're going to be living there?
Yes,
Oh,
it's a family home. So it was primarily supposed to be for myself, but we're going to be using it kind of like as a vacation home. We live in Ventura, so
It's your
I'd be
second
living there
home.
full time. Yeah,
So affluent. You have 2 houses.
I live with my brother. Yeah, it's his home in Ventura, but
I'm just kidding. That's great. One thing, I was going to ask you. Oh, you don't have dry rot from the house being so old?
are you talking about like the exterior panels
No, I'm
or
talking about the interior. Anything.
anything that we've seen? And I'm just being completely honest. It appears to be all original wood,
Wow.
and we haven't seen any actual damage from what we've been able to see. We haven't torn out the walls or anything like that, but from what we can see, it seems to be completely structurally sound.
You're very fortunate.
Yeah.
Anyway, thank you.
Of course.
Commissioner Allen, any questions while we have the applicant captive here?
No, thank you very much.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, public hearing is still open. Anybody else out there like to speak on this item? Anybody on Zoom?
Nobody on Zoom, Chair LaFevers.
Okay. I will close the public hearing, bring the item back to the commission for additional discussion, deliberation, and a motion. So let me open it up for discussion. Commissioner Benefield, did you want to start?
Sure. I wrote it down. Alterations to this building within the existing footprint and meeting safety requirements seems like an automatic approval to me. I'm sorry that they have to jump through so many hoops, but we have those conditional use and zone change things, regulations for our own safety and health and safety issues. But expanding and improving your home is great. Was built before the zoning laws, so you're not subject to the setbacks until you want to do something to your house. Now, parking is being required. Tandem parking, was that an issue at one point? Because it isn't now, really. And I think it's improving the neighborhood, improving your life. I think it's a darling little house, and I'm glad you're keeping it the way it is, mostly, and just improving it. And I don't see a downside at all. I applaud your endeavor for fixing up the house and the neighborhood. So I'm for approval of your project.
Thank you. Commissioner Allen, did you have comments you wanted to offer?
Yes, I would echo Commissioner Benefield's comments and simply note again that but for the setback issue, this would not be a project we would be seeing. I'm really glad for the applicant that the house is sound and they can go forward. And of course, if they do encounter problems, as the chair noted, there's a potential that they may need to see front desk again and get new permits, but doubtful that we would see it in that event. So I certainly can make all the findings and am happy to see them move forward with the project.
Very good, thank you. Commissioner Van Antwerp, comments, questions?
Yes. You hear me okay? Okay.
Right,
Okay.
close.
Yeah. I also am supportive, and I'm happy that it's providing long-term housing for the city as well, and for you. And that the interior will all be brought up to our current requirements and the building code. So I applaud you. Thank you.
Thank you, very good. And I'll just comment, I'm supportive of your endeavors. Sounds like a big project, but worthwhile. It's nice to have the older homes in our communities upgraded, and I'm generally in support of that. And I'm sure it'll make it much more livable. And if there are any structural issues that are identified, you'll have to deal with them along the way. But I'm certainly supportive of the project and am comfortable making the findings with regards to the setbacks and the lot coverage without a problem. So with that, unless there's any additional discussion, I entertain a motion from one of the commissioners for approval.
Sure, I'll make a motion. I move that we approve the request for conditional use and coastal development permit to allow interior remodel of the structure at 1082 Elm Street, according to the staff report.
Very good, thank you. Is there a second?
A second, and to accept the categorical exemption under CEQA.
Oops.
That would be a proposed modification of the motion, I guess.
Is that modification acceptable?
Yes, certainly.
Okay. Thanks for clarification, David. Okay, so we have a motion on the floor with a second and for approval of the project. And I'll ask for a voice, well, let me do a roll call since David's remote. So can I get a roll call vote on this one, please?
Certainly. Commissioner Benefield,
Yes.
Commissioner Van Antwerp,
Yes.
Vice Chair Allen,
Yes.
and Chair LaFevers.
Yes. Very good. Motion passes. Your project is approved. Good luck and
Go Bill.
look forward to seeing the work. Thank you very much. Okay, we'll probably pause for just a moment here to regroup, and then we'll continue on with our agenda.
Okay. All righty. There's my agenda. There's very short meeting.
Cindy's probably leaving us to, I'm sure she has more work to do, so.
A little bit more.
Thank you, Cindy.
Thank you once again.
Good luck.
Thank you guys again. Thank you.
Okay, we're going to continue on with our agenda. We're on other business, item 3, which is the election of Planning Commission Chair and Vice Chair.
Thank you, Chair Allen, or excuse me, Chair LaFevers. So it's that time of year again to select amongst yourselves a new chair and vice chair to serve out the remainder of the calendar year.
Okay, very good, thank you. And open it up to the commission. Just for clarification, Commissioner Allen is currently our vice chair. And I would propose that David be considered as, to be appointed chair. That would be my suggestion. That's consistent with our past practice and certainly appropriate. And I guess for For discussion purposes, the vice chair position is open to any of the commissioners. Commissioner Moyer is not present tonight, but it was going to be my suggestion that we consider Commissioner Moyer to be appointed as vice chair. I believe it's kind of his turn in queue, and I think I'm right on that.
Yeah, you are.
We do kind of cycle through in sequence. So those are my suggestions, and happy to hear discussion on either Commissioner Allen as chair or Commissioner Moyer as vice chair. And if there is no discussion, I'd entertain a motion to make that happen, that we can vote on.
Okay. I don't want to make a motion right now, but I agree that the rotation has worked out well. We don't have major conflicts, so it's easy to roll in the next commissioner. But we shouldn't be stuck every time with the same process. It should be open to discussion. In this case, we're fine. I think David would make a fine chairman, and John Moyer would make a fine vice chair, and that you've done a very good job yourself. So why rock the boat? Things are working well. I'll make a motion if you want me to.
Or maybe I should nominate myself as chair again. I can do
You
that.
can, and you will lose.
Nope, I'm good. I support Commissioner Allen. So
Maybe he has something to say.
let me continue to open it up. Commissioner Allen, comments on that proposal?
Well, it's fine. I actually was going to nominate you to continue for another year, so I'm open either way, seriously. I will be attending the next couple of meetings in person. I will be remote for one or two meetings after that, so that's one consideration. But either way is fine with me. I'm happy with Chair LaFever's continuing as chair. I'm happy to continue as vice chair, or I'm happy to accept if we want to continue, do the annual rotation to move up as chair. So I'll leave it to the remaining members of the commission.
Okay. Thanks, David. Commissioner Van Antwerp, any thoughts? I know you're new, but you still get a voice.
I'm fine with that.
Okay. All right. And I'm assuming and pretty confident that Commissioner Moyer would accept the position of vice chair. However, he's not here to tell us yes, but if for some reason he doesn't, then we can revisit the issue. But so again, the floor is still open. My suggestion and preference is still to suggest that we nominate Commissioner Allen as chair and Commissioner Moyer as vice chair.
Just one more comment, if I may.
Yeah.
Of course, I'm old, I forgot. During the next reign of terror, whoever's in charge, we will probably have the surfliner in issue, and I'm hoping that if David is the chair, he would be here. Otherwise, I would go with David as a rotation to get everybody involved and get a chance at it. So I would make a motion to select David Allen as president, as chairman of the board. What? You said no?
No, he's just
agreed.
amused at your selection of language.
Chairman of the, whatever we are. Okay, anyway, I would do that separately from vice, I think. Or we can do it together. And if we do use my motion, I would like to add that John Moyer be vice chair of the Planning Commission, period.
Okay, so I'm happy to split it, but I'll start by accepting your motion for both actions
Okay.
and ask if there's a second. This is Commissioner Allen as chair, Commissioner Moyer as vice chair.
I'll second.
Thank you.
Good.
Okay, any further discussion on that? I think we're good. So can I get another roll call vote on that, just because Commissioner Allen's remote?
Yes. Commissioner Benefield,
Yes.
Commissioner Van Antwerp,
Yes.
Vice Chair, perhaps for the last time, Allen,
Yes.
and Chair LaFevers.
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0.
I'd like to reiterate how good a job you've done. Thank you, Glenn.
My pleasure.
Even if you cut me off and sneer at me, it's okay. I still love you.
I'll do my best when I'm no longer chair to kick you under the dais.
Don't put his chair down there.
I'll echo that. Commissioner Fevers has been chair numerous times over the years, and Commissioner Fevers, you have always done an truly excellent job,
Thank you.
which
Much
we can
appreciated.
all try to live up to. So,
And if you were.
Thank you.
Yep, my pleasure. And if you were here, David, I would turn the meeting over to you now as the new chair, but since you're remote, I will proceed. And our vice chair's not here, so I will proceed and we'll finish off this meeting. And so let's just keep.
yes.
We'll just keep. So the next item of business, I'll ask Nick if you want to give us an intro on that. And again, congratulations on Chair David. I know you'll do an excellent job in that role.
Party time.
So let's move on to item 4 on the agenda.
Thank you, Chair. This is the selection of 2 planning commissioners to the city's general plan update committee. So this is a committee, an ad hoc committee put together with 2 members from the Planning Commission and 2 members from the City Council. And they are charged with helping staff and our consultant team review and prepare the updates to the city's general plan. So this is something that's been in the works going back now since 2016. Probably the bulk of the heavy lift is done now with the GPUC. We're hoping to release the complete public draft here this spring, later this spring, and that will kick off another round of public review and perhaps some public workshops, and that might be a venue where the GPUC can still play a role. And then that will lead into preparation of the environmental impact report, and hopefully around this time next year, we'll be actually starting the formal adoption hearings with Planning Commission and City Council for the general plan update. But there's still potentially a little bit of work to do for the general plan update committee, and so we need to assign 2 planning commissioners to be part of that in the event that there are some additional GPUC meetings this year. So currently, Commissioner Benefield is one of our GPUC committee members, and then the other position's currently vacant.
Okay. And refresh my memory, is this something that we need to come to consensus on and vote on, taking a formal action?
I think in the past we have just done a nomination and a vote. It's usually been, something that has not been controversial. Someone typically volunteers or expresses interest in being on the committee, and then the rest of the commission has just accepted that and voted to support it.
Okay. All right, thanks. I'll bring it back to the commission. Commissioner Benefield, are you willing to continue?
Yes, I think it's very important that I be there and someone else be there, but I would like to continue, yes.
I agree. I think that makes a lot of sense to have that continuity. And okay, so we really just have the one spot then. Commissioner Allen, Commissioner Van Antwerp.
I have been on that committee before, or on the previous General Plan Advisory Committee, but I am also on the Carpinteria Open Space Management Advisory Board, and I find that that's fairly important and relevant to what I'm following and have a lot of institutional knowledge in, and I'm sort of reluctant to devote time to another committee right now. So I'm hoping that one of you 2 will take it on.
Very good and understandable, David. We do appreciate all of the work that you do besides your role on the Planning Commission. I know it's a lot. So Commissioner Van Antwerp, is this something you would consider?
Yes.
Okay. I think it would be it's certainly a good learning experience, and your input would be valuable. So,
Yes, very interested. I'd
Okay.
like to.
okay. So I would propose then, just to speed things up, I wouldn't normally do this, but I'll just make the motion that we appoint Commissioner Benefield and Commissioner Van Antwerp as the two Planning Commission representatives on the General Plan Update Committee. And I'll need a second.
I'll second.
Okay. Thank you. Any other discussion? Can I get a roll call vote, please?
Commissioner Benefield.
Yes.
Commissioner Van Antwerp.
Yes,
Vice Chair Allen.
Yes.
And Chair LaFevers.
Yes. Okay.
Motion carries
Excellent.
4-0.
Thank you very much for your service and future service. It's an important
It's important.
effort. Very. Okay. Back to you, Nick.
Thank you. So last up here under matters by commissioners, I just wanted to acknowledge that you've received in your packet the director's report. This includes minutes from the Architecture Review Board meeting back in December of last year, city calendar for the month of April, the planning activity report as of the end of March, and the building permit activity report also as the end of March. And I want to just highlight a couple things that probably show up in the planning activity report. So this coming Monday, April 14th, the City Council will be taking the final action necessary to finalize the housing element rezones. So recall that we did all that work back in fall of last year to make up our arena shortfall by rezoning some handful of properties to the new residential mixed-use zone district. And the City Council went ahead and approved those rezones in December of last year. We packaged them up and sent that all off both to HCD and the Coastal Commission, and received approval from HCD back in end of January, and Coastal Commission approved the changes just middle of last month. And so now this is the final step, is for this packet to come back to the City Council and for the council to acknowledge and accept the Coastal Commission's action and make it final. So that's a big milestone to finally
Relief.
be done with that and have that behind us. Also coming up
Through the chair, may I ask a question on that?
Sure.
I apologize for interrupting, but on the rezones, there were a couple of, at least one rezone that was quite favored by the commission to move forward, but will require a general plan revision, as I recall. Are those in the works, the second phase? Do you have any expectations on that?
Through the chair, Vice Chair Allen. Yes, so the second phase of rezones are in the works. We're actually right now including them in the general plan update so that the analysis and the potential build-out scenarios of those are being looked at as part of the general plan update. And then, as part of that public hearing process, which we're anticipating would occur sometime next year, the Planning Commission and City Council can make final decisions on which of those additional rezones, if any, are carried forward as part of the general plan update. There's also some chance that some of the properties that were deferred as part of Phase 2 could come back and be reconsidered on a faster timeline. So you'll recall back in fall of last year, there was some talk about one of the sites on the Carpinteria Bluffs where the property owner was advocating for it to be included in the Phase 1 rezones. And the council ultimately decided not to include it, but wanted to come back and revisit it separately sometime this year ahead of the larger Phase 2 rezone effort. And so that's something that we're still working with the applicant team to get all of our ducks in a row and bring that back to the council for additional discussion that'll be separate and ahead of the larger Phase 2 rezone effort.
And would the commission see it as part of that review?
I think it depends. I'd have to go back and take a look at what your commission's action was. My recollection was that your commission recommended approval of the Phase 1 rezones with that site included. And the council, chose not to take up that recommendation ultimately. So I don't know offhand if that would, then need to come back to your commission again or not.
Yeah, that's not my recollection, but I could be mistaken. I didn't think the majority went for the proposed rezone on the Bluffs property on the ocean side of Carpinteria Avenue.
Yeah,
But
we can
I may
double
be
check.
mistaken. Yeah,
And I may be as well. Either way,
yeah.
once we get back to the first step, I think, is to get back to the city council and continue this discussion with the council, get some direction on whether this is something that they want to entertain now or continue to defer to Phase 2. And then if they decide they do want to pursue it now, then that'll, kind of give us our marching orders to go back and craft a proposed ordinance and take it through the legislative process.
Yeah, that was my recollection as well, Commissioner Allen, that the commission did not approve recommending that, the Bluffs parcel. And we did not, I don't believe. I think we did recommend the Lagunitas parcel.
Maybe
And
that's it.
that's the one that was
Maybe that's the one I'm
deferred
getting
by
confused.
council.
I know you included one and you excluded one, so, if the council
Yes.
does elect that they want to pursue, rezoning of the site on the Bluffs, then perhaps that would need to come back to your commission.
Okay. Thank you.
Sure. So the other items I just wanted to highlight from the planning activity report was for next month's hearing, which is May 5th, we'll be bringing to you the decommissioning project for the Chevron oil and gas processing facility.
Great.
And so the proposed final EIR for that is up on the website now. And it includes as an appendix to the EIR, a list of copies of all the comments received from the draft EIR, and then responses to those comments and where you can find those responses. So that's all up on the city website now, and we'll be doing some additional outreach to folks who submitted public comments to let them formally know that it's available, but I just wanted to let you know it is up there, and it's posted if folks are interested in digging into that ahead of the hearing.
Okay. And through the chair?
Go ahead, David.
Yes. I have not heard, though. I know they were going to look at it and let me know whether I will be able to participate in the decommissioning hearing. Our residence is within 500 feet of the closest parcel. That parcel is not part of any work so far as I know. But if the project is looked at as including all of the parcels, then I may not be able to participate in that matter. So I'll be attending the meeting for whatever else is there, of course, but I may have to step out for that part.
I can't imagine that, though.
Yeah, appreciate the heads up on that, David. Certainly do whatever's necessary and appropriate. Hopefully we'll have your input. But if not, we understand why. Okay, thanks for the heads up on that next meeting, and that's a lot of material in the EIR. So good. I'm glad it's available. We'll dig in and start taking a look, and and we'll wait for the staff report on that. So let's talk just a moment about the May 5th meeting. Just for your awareness, I will be out of town on May 5th. I will see if I can figure out a way to join via Zoom, because I would like to participate in that action very much. So what is the deadline for posting?
Chair LaFever, so the notices will go out at least 10 calendar days ahead of the hearing. The agenda will get posted
April 25th.
at minimum the Thursday prior to the hearing, but I hope to post the agenda earlier than that.
Okay. And so I guess my question is, since I haven't attended remotely since we were in the COVID shut down. When do you need to know an address?
Yeah, I would think if you can let us know, let's say by, April 24th or April 25th, that gives us, enough time that we can note your remote address on the agenda and make sure that it's there when we publish.
Thank you. And then other commissioners, we know David's planning to be here in person. Other commissioners will be available to attend on the 5th?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, very good, thank you. We don't know about John, but hopefully he'll be here as well.
We're not going to forget matters presented by commissioners, are we?
Did I skip over that?
Well,
Or is
he
we don't
did
have it on our agenda
Nick
tonight?
got carried away and skipped right over it.
Okay. Before I adjourn, I will open it up for matters presented by commissioners.
Okay, I had several. One of them is this. I have asked the city 3 times, I have done it in writing, to take the story poles down on Dorrance Avenue on both sides for projected development. The poles are just rotting there and they're unsightly. I'd really like to see those disappear. The second thing is I don't know who I've spoken to about this, but we need to really pursue either advertising or working or initial work on an emergency exit through the state park during a disaster. We need to, I know that's available. They have spikes, however, for cars that cannot drive through there. So we must have a system for an emergency response. And I've never heard of it, but somebody says it exists. And, Linden is not enough for us to get everybody evacuated out of that area. So I'd like to know the status of that, if any. Thirdly, I would like us to use these meeting dates that we don't meet for a casework on issues that we must address philosophically, like parking and maybe not affordable housing, because we beat that to death. But parking is an issue that keeps accumulating, and we talk about it on each case, but we don't have a full view of the total picture, and I think we should do things like that. And the fourth thing is, am I conflicted out by where I live for the Surfliner Hotel? That's all I have. Now, I don't need answers right now, of course.
And through the chair,
Thanks, Commissioner Benefield. Go ahead, Commissioner Allen.
just a question, Nick, on whether we have projected dates for any future major projects such as the Surfliner.
Through the chair, nothing yet planned for the Surfliner. We're taking an item to the City Council this coming Monday to hopefully award a contract for the EIR consultant for the Surfliner Inn. And so, figure if they do get awarded the contract, that they would kick off their work here sometime this spring, and that's got, 6 months or more of work, I would guess, to prepare that draft EIR and get that circulated. So I think it's going to be still a little while before that project gets in front of your planning commission.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, by the way.
Okay, anything else, Commissioner Allen?
No, thank you.
Okay. Any other items, Commissioner Van Antwerp? No.
Thank you.
Okay. I don't have anything. So we've reached the end of our agenda, and we're adjourned. Thank you very much.
Good to see you.